Hey guys, Gino Zero. How everybody doing? I hope all is well. Today we're going to be making some feed and treats, healthy, delicious snacks for the chickens and for our little chickens that we're raising up to butcher. So we're done grinding deer meat for the year. We don't have any more meat to be grinding up, and we still have a couple of packs of our beef fat that we saved throughout the course of the last year in order to grind it in with the deer meat. But so we're going to take this fat and we're going to grind it. We're going to run it through the grinder, and we're going to make chicken soot cakes or flock blocks or whatever it is you want to call them, treats for the chickies that gives them a lot of protein and a lot of good other stuff that we're going to put into it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to run this big chunks of fat through the grinder, and I'm just going to grind it right back into the bag right here. That way we're not dirtying up another bowl and we're not wasting anything else. So I'm just going to stack all this up. The reason we're running through the grinder is because it's going to be a lot easier to separate the fat chunks from the, you see there's still meat chunks in there too. So I'm going to stack all this up and get it out of the way and run it through the grinder and just grind it right back into this bag right here. So it's going to get loud while I turn this grinder on, so bear with me for a second. Alright, so there you go. You can see in the bag how it's ground up like that. We're going to do this whole little thing and grind it all back into this bag, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay guys, we're done grinding up our fat, ground it right back into the same bag here. But you see there's all kind of stuff left in these in the front of the grinder here. So what I've done is I've just taken a small potato that is kind of old and squishy, and I'm going to run it through the grinder now too. That's going to help clean it. And get all this other stuff out, and a little bit of potato in the mix is going to help because we're going to go and cook this next. So I'm just going to start this up and grind that potato through there to clean it out. As you can see, we ran the potato through, and now we're able to clean most of that stuff. All the rest of this fat will come right off, and whatever fat's not on there is still okay, because as we take it to the sink and clean it and rinse it through, there's still going to be fat on there that's going to help keep it, all your parts and stuff, from rusting anyway. So here's our bag of beef fat that is now ready to take to the next step, which is going to be cooking it in some water and cooking it down, which is what we're going to do directly. Okay guys, I got fat inside my dragon pot here that I got from Silver Fire because we're going to be doing this outside, because I do not like to turn my stove on if I don't have to, because everything that we save helps. So we got our beef fat that we just ground up in here. We're going to put it in here for cooking. Now this jar here is just a jar of various other types of fats that we've had from the griddle, from browning hamburger, you know, stuff like that, cooking in our cast iron, whatever grease we got, we leave it in here. We're going to add this into the mix as well, because all animal fat is good stuff in my opinion, especially whenever you're going to help, you know, your chickens get their fat content and get them some extra protein, and they will love it. Happy chickies are productive chickies, and we like productive chickies. We're going to actually give some of this also to the little chickens that we're raising to butcher, because this is going to give them some good fat for their diet. So as far as fat goes, you can save your fat from cooking like we do. You can save your fat from butchering. If you butcher any large chunks of meat, save the fat from that, as we do. You could probably go to your butcher shop if you have a local butcher shop around, and he will give you some of his trim fat either for free or at a very discounted price. So there are resources out there to get good amounts of fat. And a lot of people use it to make soap and stuff like that. I don't, not yet. Not saying that I will never have to, but you know, we know how to do it if we need to. But this stuff here, I'm going to turn it into chicken food and animal feed. You'll see where we get some dog and cat food out of this here too whenever we get through cooking. So we're going to add all this into the mix here. Now I'm going to get my my Hunter stove out there, get a fire going, and we'll put this on directly, start cooking. Alright guys, you can see I got my the burn chamber here full of just sticks and junk laying around the yard. This is a biomass stove, so anything that'll burn you can cram into this and burn. It's a top loader, so you can just load it up from the top. And turn my door open to about the 3 o'clock mark here so that it can get some air. And now I'm going to put my little tender bundle bird's nest here on top. This is the stuff that my buddy Florida Dan, RV man, sent to me a little while back. Some of his Florida tender that he says works really, really good for making a fire. So let's just see. Let's see how well it catches a spark. If I can get my thing going here. Wow, that does work pretty good, Dan. That stuff fired right up. So there we go. We're going to let our fire get going here, and then we'll go to the next step. Once we get our fire good and hot, then we'll start rendering the fat out here on the fire. Okay guys, we got our fires going really, really good. Been a couple of minutes, so what we're going to do now is we're going to close the vent all the way closed here on our stove. We're going to put our dragon pot on top of it. It's got all of our grease and the gross and disgusting nastiness, but it's going to be lovely for the chickies. So we're going to let this come to a boil, which it shouldn't take it very long on this stove here. And you know the stove's burning efficiently because there's no smoke coming out of the top. There's just heat coming out of the top. These stoves are they're fantastic, man. Anyway, we're going to let this come to a boil now, and then once it starts boiling, then we'll let it simmer and melt down and stir it along, and it should take the whole process should take about 30 or 35 minutes. And I should not have to put any more fuel into this stove because that should be adequate. So now, since I don't got to sit here and tend my fire, I can walk away for a little while and go and read the chickies a story or something like that, and we'll be back here directly. Okay guys, you can see, I hope you can see, we've got a pretty good boil going in there now. So we're just going to let it simmer for about, oh look, there's even some cracklings left in there from that one jar. Oh, there's some cracklings in there. Better not let Michigan Snow Pony see those cracklings. She might, yeah, I think she's got a bit of a crackling problem or something. Anyway, so we're just going to let them simmer for about 25 or 30 minutes or so. And, yep, that's the next step. Let it simmer for 25 or 30 minutes. That way all of the fat can cook away from the meat, and then we'll strain it out and we'll take that to the next step. Okay guys, I think we're about as good as we're going to get as far as the melting the fat down. So now we're going to pull the pot here, and we're going to run it through a strainer in this big bowl right here. That's going to strain out a lot of the meat chunks and the other stuff that was inside. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time here. All that meat. We are going to probably use the majority of this for cat and dog food for the next couple of days. Thank you. We'll let that fat drain out of there. It's all good fat for the chickens to have. A lot of times we give them meat scraps and stuff like that too, because they need the protein that's in there just like everything else does. Alrighty, so now we've got a big old bowl of melted fat. So what we're going to do, next is we're going to let this cool off a little bit and harden up, and it'll get a layer on top. That way we can get to the water that's underneath it and separate it out a little bit. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to let this cool off for a little bit, and once it's cool, then we'll get right back with you. Okay guys, this is what we got. It's nasty, it's starting to solidify, it looks gross, and it is not very appetizing, but the chickies will love it. So what we're going to do is we have got, you see how it's still got some water in there underneath from the water that we cooked it with. That's okay, because we're not making soap, we're not making tallow for soap or anything like that, so it's okay if it's a little bit dirty and stuff. So we're just going to kind of break this up a little bit. And then in here, we've got just some of the regular scratch grains that we use for chicken food, and it's got some eggshells in here that we've crushed up as well. We keep and dry our eggshells, and you can crush them up and put them in here. All these extra grains is going to help soak up the liquid that's in there, because even though it's just water, it's still got a lot of protein and good stuff that was cooked out. And then this here is just a generic bag of wild bird seed that you can find on clearance every once in a while, and we're going to throw this in here too. Scratch greens, bird seed, grass seed, whatever you've got laying around that you can put into it, they will love it. Now we're just going to mix it all together and give those grains a little bit of time to soak up some of that liquid, some of that water that's in the bottom there, because it will. There's enough fat in there that it'll solidify and it'll set up really good. But we want to give them a second to for those dry grains to absorb the moisture that's in here. Alrighty, and we're going to let them soak for a second and soak up some of that water that's in there. And then once we get this as much of that liquid absorbed as we can, we've just got some of these old nasty baking sheets that we've got lined with foil. And these were just some old, I think these were frosting cans that we saved once we used some frosting, and we're going to fill these up and fill these up. These here will probably get stored in the freezer. That way whenever we open them up, take the lid off, we can go ahead and squeeze them out on the ground for the birds. And then these here, we can just take out there, we can cut them into chunks and blocks from up there. But for right now, we're going to kind of sit and let this soak and absorb, and then we'll be right back to go ahead and put them in the pans. Alrighty, you can see that it's absorbed a lot of the moisture that's in here. Now, before it gets too solid, we're going to go ahead and scrape it up and put it into these frosting containers here that we saved. Tap it down in there. You want to leave a little bit of space in there, because remember, these here we're going to put in the freezer. So we're going to leave a little bit of space in there so that it gives them room to expand in the freezer. Set that one aside, just like that. Now we'll fill up our trays here with chicken lady loving deliciousness. Filling it up, and the phone rings, of course. So let me go answer the phone, and we'll fill this other tray up just like we did this one. All right, we're going to keep on filling. Ladies are going to love this, man. And it's nutritious. It's got a bunch of protein in it. Bunch of different grains. It's going to be good. A lot of people feed this through the winter time. Like I say, we're getting into early spring now. But we're going to use up the fat that we had saved from the summer and go ahead and feed our ladies this. And set some aside for later on. Plus, in the summertime, a nice cold block like this coming out of the freezer will give a nice cool treat for them to cool them off when it's really, really hot. So now we set these in the refrigerator for a little while and let them solidify. And we'll get right back with you once it's a little bit more solid, and we'll take them out and see if they like them. Alrighty, so it's solidified up real nice. You can see I'm pushing on it here. You can see impatient ladies. We're going to see whether or not this is going to be a hit. I'm pretty sure it is. One of the reasons why we put the tin foil in here is because some of these older pans, it'll stick to them. So what we're going to do is just dump it out here on the ground in a block. Pull off this foil. And then let the ladies have their way with it. That sounded a little wrong. Come on, tin foil. There we go. Alrighty. Come on, girls. There's their soot block. You got any takers?
Uh-oh. No.
There we go.
No, escaping chickens. Escaping chickens.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to go have a good old-fashioned chicken chasing.
The chickens escaped.
As you can see, they're coming over here to the block. They're going to peck at it, and they're going to go ahead and eat it, and it's really good for them. So, happy ladies are productive ladies. So, all right, you guys, have a great evening. Thanks for watching. You have a great day. Give it a shot. It's way easy. Saves you a little bit of money. God bless. In the end. Buzz, buzz. The end.